I'm Caitlin E, and welcome back, specifically to me, to the Lit Review. We're kicking this back off again. So I want to get back into some of my existing series here on this channel, including Romancing the Tarot. This series comes from a deep love of dating shows like The Bachelor, like Love Island, Love is Blind, any and all reality dating show I'm here for. I think it syncs up really nicely with my love of romance novels, which is why this idea came to me. And so I built this little bracket where I wanted to kind of like do a dating show where there are group dates and one-on-ones, and I would give a rose bookmark to whichever book from those groups I liked best. And at the end, I would pick my best romance read of the season. So it's been a while though since I picked that concept up, and I really loved it. So I want to keep going with it. And in order to do that, I'm going to run you through the books that I've already read, the group dates we've already been on, and let you know the results of them so that we can catch up together, and then I can pull a whole new group date. So for example, here are some of the cards we've pulled in the past. I won't go through each of the individual prompts, but each of the arcana from the Final Rose Tarot set, I've created a prompt for each of them. So at the end of this video, you'll see me do the third episode where I pull more tarot cards so that you can see more prompts. There is a story graph challenge that I will have updated by the time this video goes live. So if you'd like to catch up and participate with me too, you are more than welcome to do that. But if not, just enjoy the chaos that is me pulling tarot cards for romance novels. So let me do the catch-up real quick, and if you're not into the catch-up, you just want to see the card pull, I will leave a timestamp somewhere on the screen, as well as linked down below in the description box so that you can jump around as needed. Also, apologies in advance if the lighting gets a little weird. I decided not to use a ring light. We're just using all natural light today, which is either going to be a blessing or a curse, depending on how today goes. Let's find out together, shall we? So far we've accomplished the first impression rose and 2 group dates. Let me give you the summary of all of that good stuff, and I'll try to keep it brief. And while I didn't mean to make this an unhaul project, it kind of became one. If a book didn't get a rose, I had to have also kind of liked it for me to be yeah, I'm gonna keep it. So a lot of these books I'm gonna have to insert up above because I've unhauled a lot of them. So my first impression rose, this is a prompt that I would give myself every single time I would do this, saying hey, based on concept and cover alone, which book have you recently purchased that you're most excited by? And at the time that I made that video, that was Dear Erin by Mariana Zapata. It was a 3-star for me, and it kind of got the first impression rose, the rose bookmark by default, but I can tell you right now, it's not gonna win. It's not gonna win. Then I had my first group date where I pulled 5 prompts, and I could combine any of those prompts any which way, but I had to complete all 5. So in this case, I pulled 4 books to complete 5 prompts. So I had to do one that was award winning, and I picked Swoon Awards for Best Novella. And that was Alyssa Cole's The AI Who Loved Me. Then I had to pick a main character that didn't want to settle down. And for that, I picked Amanda Scott's Moonlight Rider. And then I combined prompts for this one. I did a second chance romance and then something with food or drink on the cover. And for that, I was able to read Cara Bastone's Flirting with Forever. Last one, the last prompt out of the 5 was to read a sports romance, and I picked Intercepted by Alexa Martin. And Intercepted is the one that wins the rose bookmark for this group date. Then I had group date number 2, and again, had to pull 5 cards for 5 different prompts, and I could combine them any which way for the group date. And I did the same thing as I did with the first one, 4 books to fulfill the 5 prompts. So I had to do a booktube or a booktuber favorite. And then I pulled one from Jessica from Peace Love Books XO. One of her recent favorites at the time that I did that video was Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. I also had to do one that was a Goodreads best of winner for romance or women's fiction, one of the 2. And that's how I ended up reading People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Then I was able to combine 2 prompts for 1 book, and that was 1, a clinch cover, and then 2, it had to be a family series. So the series is interconnected by family. And for that, I read Erica Ridley's The Perks of Loving a Wallflower, which is part of the Wild Winchester series. And then the final prompt was paranormal romance. And for that one, I read Better Off Red by Rebecca Weatherspoon. And that one was my winner for this category as well. But so far, we have our 3 kind of rose bookmark recipients, and that is Intercepted by Alexa Martin, Dear Erin by Mariana Zapata, and Better Off Red by Rebecca Weatherspoon. So now we're kind of moving up a tier. Again, a little graphic here. There will be 2 versions of this, much like before, where I will have a group date and then a one-on-one. So I'm gonna still pull the 5 prompts for the group date, and I can still combine them as many ways as I can to make it happen. And then I will pull a single card that will be my one-on-one, and it has to be 1 book for 1 prompt, and that is a yes or no. So if I do not like the book enough to give it a rose bookmark, it does not move forward, but there will still be 1 winner from the group date that will get a rose bookmark and move forward for contention. So let's pull some cards. What I'm gonna do as I just lightly shuffle the tarot deck is I'm going to pull the cards first, and then once I pull the cards and find the prompts, then I will kind of go through my collection and kind of show you some options that I'm thinking through. And then, you know, we'll go from there. And then I'll have, you know, however long to read them. I will try to be faster than I have in the past. We'll see how that goes. But so I'm pulling a total of 6 of these. And again, I'm not doing like a very serious shuffle, just kind of putting some intention. I want some good romance reads into these. I want the spirit of all of my favorite rom-com reality TV shows to find me the best romance read of the season. So also, aren't these pretty? I literally just got these off from a Kickstarter from an author or from an artist I really love. Her name, I think, is Amelia Rose. I'll see if I can link her in the description below. I have no idea if this is still available. I would hope so, but maybe on her website. Big fan, love it. So first card of episode 3, Romancing the Tarot. Oh, okay. This is the 5 of Rings, and the tag is Insecure. Okay, so for 5 of Rings, Insecure, I took the prompt more from like the art on the card than the words. So for this, I chose something with BDSM elements because she's blindfolded and there's like a little bit of like the arrow through the apple situation. So I would have to pick a romance with BDSM elements in it. Ooh, okay. Oh, this one is just a number, and then it says ITM at the bottom. She's saucy looking. I like her. Oh, this one's super easy. This is super easy. I just need to add a contemporary romance. This is going to be a really easy one to double up on, or potentially even triple up on if I'm cool enough. All right, pull number 3. Ooh, it's the Queen of Mirrors, the bitch. in this card's parlance. Oh, okay, so I interpreted this card and its framing as I needed a badass female main character to be the pull for this. So there's a lot I could do with this. Could be fantasy, historical, contemporary. There's a lot of different ways to be a badass. We're gonna find her. Pull number 4 for the group date. Okay, this is pretty. The Queen of Roses, it's the beauty queen. Feels like there's always at least one of these, at least in The Bachelor. Okay, and because of the crown, I gave myself the prompt for this of to read a royal romance for this card. Again, this could go so many different ways. Contemporary, historical, potentially even sci-fi or fantasy. There are a lot of fantasy queens. Choices. Final card for the group date, and then I'll do one more poll for the one-on-one. Okay, this card, the art just got me. It's 2 of Mirrors, and it's a 2-on-1. And look at the kangaroos. Okay, so 2-on-1 as a prompt, it doesn't mean that that's what I'm going to be doing, although later in the bracket I do have a 2-on-1. But the 2-on-1, this is a love triangle. So I have to read a book with a love triangle in it. King of Rings, the jeweler. Oh, okay, so this is a cover-based prompt. So I have to pick a book with some type of jewelry, a ring, a necklace, earring, some type of jewelry on the cover. Why do I feel like that's gonna be really hard? Okay, I have gone away and scoured through my shelves back here, my shelves out in the living room, and the random stashes of books I just happen to have squirreled away in this house. And some of them I knew instantly what was going on. And the only rules that I follow for myself is that this is an excuse for me to read down my TBR. So I have to own it either digitally or in physical form, or audio if I own that, although I don't own a lot of audiobooks. If you are following along with this challenge, you can do it however you please. If you want to go buy a new book, if you want to go to your library, if you too want to read down your TBR, you participate how you see fit. But the conditions for me is that I had to own it in some way, shape, or form. The one thing for the jeweler, the King of Rings, which was to read a book with some type of jewelry on the cover. I kind of struggled with this one. Historical romances were pretty helpful. Sarah McLean was a lead option until I remembered that I owned this copy of You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty by Quick and Mizzy. Because of this gorgeous necklace here on the cover. This is what we're going with. I've been wanting to read this for a really long time, but I've just kind of held off for reasons I do not fully understand. Even the back cover has like this necklace with a ring pendant on it. But yeah, this will be my one-on-one. And like one-on-ones in The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, I'm choosing this because I have high hopes. I'm choosing this because I think I'm actually going to like it. And if I'm wrong, it will be severely disappointing and I'm going to have to send it to somebody. It's going to have to go home. It's going to have to find a new home. The Two of Mirrors, the one that's like, you have to read a love triangle. There were only 2 books off the top of my head that I could think of that fit that I know would be a love triangle and not like, oh, there's a love interest that she's not actually interested in, but he's like there to move the platform. Like I wanted a genuine love triangle. And I think this would work. This is Soraya Wilson's The Chemistry of Love. And it follows Anna Ellis, who is a hopelessly smitten cosmetic chemist. And she wants to win over the man of her dreams, who also happens to be her boss, Craig. But then she gets the CEO half-brother, Marco, to kind of fake date her. And so then she kind of starts falling for them both and has to make some choices. So this, I mean, like, I kind of know where it's going to go because fake dating always goes in the fake dating direction. But it feels like a very genuine love triangle, like she's genuinely trying to get both of their attention at a different point. So this is like kind of a stretch, but I think this might work. And the other option I had for Two of Mirrors is a historical by Diana Quincy called Her Night with the Duke. And the female main character, Lady Delilah, is a widow, and she gets kind of caught on a country road on a rain-swept evening, and she has to fend off a group of ruffians with the help of a handsome gentleman. And then they spend the night together because she's a widow who can just enjoy herself, and they have like one of the most awesome, passionate nights, and they go on their separate ways. Except she goes back home and realizes that the Duke is the man that she spent the night with. The Duke, who is in fact like supposed to be courting her stepdaughter, who is also her age. You know what? On premise alone, I think we're going here. This just sounds juicy. This is going to be the pick for Two Mirrors. I don't know if it fits with anything else. Technically not a royal romance. She could be a total badass, but I don't know based off the cover how I would define that. It's definitely not a contemporary, and I do not know if there are going to be any BDSM elements, though I don't assume so because the language on the back cover does not suggest. Okay, and here's where I feel like I'm being a little too literal, maybe. I don't know. It's my own game. I can do whatever I want. But I'm combining 2 prompts. I could probably try to squish in a third one, but I'm just going to do 2. And that's the Queen of Roses, which is read a royal romance, and then the ITM number 9, like the one that's for contemporary. So this wasn't a very easy pick. I did not have to pull multiple options for this. I knew exactly what I wanted to read. Twisted Games by Anna Huang is a royal romance. It is a bodyguard royal romance. I read Twisted Love for the first time earlier this year, so I'm finally moving on with the Twisted series. And so this is Bridget and Reese's story. Bridget is a princess who is, thrust into the potential of being the ruler of her country after her brother abdicates. And little does anyone else know that she started to fall for her bodyguard, and so now there's a real serious tension about everything. So then we have Queen of Mirrors, the bitch card. This is one that I just wanted to pick somebody that felt like a real badass lady, like an assassin or a spy, or, like something of that nature that felt like she could handle her shit. There are a lot of different ways to define a badass person, and specifically a badass woman in the romance genre, but that's what I was going for. That's what I was feeling moved by this time around. So I have two different options. I can't find it, but I know I freaking own it. I know I do. So option number one is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen, where the main character has basically been trained by her father to kind of like seduce and then eventually kill this like ruler of the Bridge Kingdom, because it controls access to like trade and all of this different power routes. But wouldn't you know it, she starts to feel feelings. Or at least that's what I assume happens, because it's a romance. Everybody seems to really love it though, so that's option number one. Option number two gets me a little forward in a series that I've already started, which is significant because I am trying to be better about actually reading series. I just tend to start them and then frolic off with severe romance reader shiny syndrome. But I digress. Option number two is Hope Divided by Alyssa Cole. This is part of her series whose name is escaping me. I will put it somewhere up here, but it's Civil War era spies. The first book in the series is An Extraordinary Union, which I really, really loved. So I'm very optimistic about this book. I also really love the research Alyssa Cole tends to put into her historicals. This is about Marley Lynch, who is living in Carolina. I'm assuming South Carolina. It just says Carolina. And she's helping Union prisoners. She's helping any slave or freeman who is like fleeing the area. And then vicious Confederate home guard claims her home as a new base of operations for Southern resistors to the rebel cause. And there is an escaped prisoner named Ewan McCall in her laboratory. And she finds him like irresistible, even as the danger of their situation continues to progress. Look, I talked about this one way more. I think I'm way more excited about this one. We're going to give Alyssa Cole a second chance in this Romancing the Tarot bracket. And finally, my decision about the Alyssa Cole book helped me come to a decision, I think, about my last prompt, which was the Five of Rings, or the BDSM elements romance. I had a lot of options for this. I first considered The Siren by Tiffany Rice. And then I would love to read I think the first book is American Queen by Sierra Simone. It's like her new Camelot series, I think. I know I own both of those books. One that I own, but I have it in ebook form, which I want to be better about reading my ebooks as well. And that's the one I think I'm going to go with, because again, it's a book in a series that I've already kind of started, and I would like to be better about that. I own it in ebook, but it's called Prime Minister, and it's co-written by Ainsley Booth and Sadie Haller. And it is book one in the series with the worst name of all time, which is the Frisky Beavers series. So this book follows, well, the Prime Minister of Canada, and I believe it is a kind of forbidden romance on top of having some BDSM elements. All of the books in the Frisky Beavers series do have some BDSM elements, because I think it's centered around like this group of friends that like all know this about each other, and they all have like high profile lives, so they kind of help each other like keep their secrets. So he's the Prime Minister, and I believe she's the new intern. Good times are going to be had by all. But I own that one on ebook, so I'll put the cover up here. Okay, so Prime Minister plus these books, Her Night with the Duke by Diana Quincy, A Hope Divided by Alyssa Cole, and Twisted Games by Anna Huang are going to be our third group date for Romancing the Tarot. And then I also have to complete a one-on-one with Akweke Emeze's You Made a Fool of Death with Her Beauty. So those are the books I'll be trying to read before we next see each other for a Romancing the Tarot poll. Once again, if you would like to participate, you do not have to do things the way I am doing them, but there is a Storygraph challenge that I'm very lackadaisically keeping up with, but it's there if you'd like to reference what's been done in the past, and you are probably all faster readers than me, so I bet you can catch up way faster than I will actually read this group of books. But this has been a really fun way for me to get back into the channel. I will not make any promises about my ability to keep up with this. I do like being here, so even if I just pop in like a little whimsical elf now and again, to tell you about the books I'm reading or the books I want to read. We'll call that good. Deal? Deal. So that's it for this video. Hopefully I will see you around, but regardless, thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day or night, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.
Hold on, girl, now wait just a minute. I've got something to say, you should hear it.